Imagine for a moment that your inner peace was never actually at the mercy of the world, that the chaos outside is just a mirror, reflecting a storm it didn't create. We walk through life convinced that our frustration is a direct result of someone else's actions. The harsh word, the broken promise, the careless disregard. But what if the real source of that fire isn't the person standing in front of you, but a hidden fuse within yourself that they've merely sparked? Most people live as marionettes, their strings pulled by circumstances they swear they can't control. A single piece of criticism dismantles their confidence. One act of disloyalty shatters their foundation. A minor disagreement escalates into a full-scale war. The ancient school of Stoicism proposed a radical alternative. True power isn't in building an impenetrable shield, but in cultivating an unshakable core. Your composure was never meant to be a delicate leaf, blown about by every gust of public opinion or personal mistake. It's meant to be rooted in the bedrock of conscious choice, the part of you that can observe the stimulus, take a breath, and select a response instead of being hijacked by a reaction. The world will throw its punches, that's inevitable. Whether you stumble and fall into its chaos, that and that alone is your domain. This isn't an exercise in abstract theory. We're going to dismantle the architecture of anger and rebuild a fortress of calm using the timeless tools of Stoic philosophy. And if this journey toward inner sovereignty resonates with you, consider subscribing to Stoic Mindset Mastery. It's a simple gesture, but it tells us you're committed to walking this path with deliberate intention. Let's dissect anger, not the explosive cinematic kind, but the insidious low-grade resentment that builds when someone lets you down. It's the heavy feeling in your chest when a boundary is crossed you thought was universally understood. We instinctively believe this fury is about them, the person who was rude, ungrateful, or thoughtless. But here is the twist that changes everything. More often than not, it has nothing to do with them. It's about the unspoken novel you authored in your head, the script they never received, let alone agreed to perform. Anger is the alarm that rings when reality refuses to conform to your internal narrative. You expected thoughtfulness. You anticipated loyalty. You were counting on gratitude. And when the empty silence echoed back, your mind screamed, "This isn't how the story goes." But who authorized that narrative? Did the other person sign your contract? Did they even know the terms? As Carl Jung suggested, the thing that irritates us most about others can be a profound guide to understanding ourselves. That concept is a heavyweight, isn't it? Because it forces a terrifying, liberating question. What if your anger isn't just a reaction, but a revelation? What if it's a spotlight, illuminating a shadow within you that's been waiting to be healed, not just soothed or suppressed? Your anger is not an attack. It's a compass pointing to a wound you haven't dressed. The Stoic method demands we interrogate our assumptions. So when someone's behavior lights your fuse, the disciplined response isn't to retaliate, but to investigate. It's to follow that anger back to its source and ask, what expectation was just shattered? What belief about how the world should work is now lying in pieces? Let's ground this in reality. A colleague takes credit for your work, and you're simmering. It's not merely the act of theft that burns, but the underlying conviction. Fairness is a universal law. People of integrity don't do this. That belief might be a scar from a past injustice, a time you felt invisible and undervalued. That's not a flaw, it's a human experience. But the crucial insight is that the anger of today is a ghost, haunted by the wounds of yesterday. Socrates asserted that an unexamined life isn't worth living. When it comes to the fire of emotion, especially anger, that examination is where true wisdom resides. Instead of being a puppet to the feeling, you begin to ask, why did this prick me so deeply? Why this action at this moment? In that instant, you transform from someone controlled by emotion into a student learning from it. Aristotle spoke of the difficulty and art of being angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose. That's not suppression, that's mastery. So here is your new reflex. When frustration rises, instead of clenching your fists or reaching for your phone, pause. Ask yourself, which of my unspoken rules did the world just break? You will be amazed how often this simple inquiry can extinguish the flames. Anger isn't your adversary, it's a messenger, but only if you're brave enough to read its message correctly. In a society that glorifies the quick retort and the devastating clapback, silence is often mistaken for submission. We're conditioned to believe that not speaking up immediately is an invitation to be trampled. But what if that's a fundamental miscalculation? What if, in countless scenarios, silence isn't surrender, it's sovereignty? Let's be brutally honest. Most of us have launched a verbal missile in the heat of the moment, only to watch it circle back and destroy something we valued. A sentence fired without a filter, a text sent in a blind rage, a comment that incinerated a bridge. But how often have you genuinely regretted taking a pause, a moment of restraint? Silence almost never leaves a scar, but words flung in anger, they echo for a lifetime. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned that anger, if not bridled, is often more damaging to us than the incident that sparked it. He was right. When we react instantly, we aren't responding from a place of collected wisdom. We're flailing from a place of unprocessed impulse. And impulses are notoriously poor advisors. Think of silence not as a void, but as a vessel of controlled power. In that moment when someone throws an insult or a challenge, your primal instinct screams to engage. But if you can resist that urge, just for a few seconds, something remarkable occurs. The fog clears. You separate your ego from your ethics. You grant yourself the autonomy to design a response instead of being a slave to an emotion. When someone manages to burrow under your skin, it's a signal. It's a signpost pointing to something within that needs reinforcement. And those few seconds of silence, that's the space you create to read that sign. Plato taught that a wise man speaks because he has something to say, a fool because he must say something. Let that land. You don't always need the final word. In fact, when you stop participating in every skirmish, you conserve your ammunition for the battles that actually define you. Silence becomes a sieve. It allows the trivial to pass through while you remain anchored. This isn't about stifling your emotions or playing dead. It's about mastering your timing, your tone, and your arena. The gap between the trigger and your response, that's where your true authority lives. So next time you feel the heat rise, pause, count. Let them fill the silence with their noise if they wish. Your objective isn't to correct every distortion. Your objective is to guard your tranquility. As Epictetus framed it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And sometimes the most potent reaction is the one you choose not to have. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers you were too loud to hear. There's a peculiar liberation that arrives when you stop treating life as a series of personal emergencies, not in a reckless, irresponsible way, but in a grounded, I refuse to let this triviality hijack my well-being kind of way. Life pelts us with curveballs constantly, a reckless driver, a passive-aggressive remark, a plan that disintegrates for the 5th time this week, and yet we react with shocked outrage each time, as if we genuinely expected the universe to finally start behaving. The Stoics understood a profound truth: our suffering multiplies when we demand that reality be anything other than what it is. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if you are pained by an external thing, it's not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your own judgment of it. And what better tool to challenge a flawed judgment than a well-placed laugh? Because laughter isn't fragility, it's defiance. It's your spirit refusing to be molded by pettiness. It's the calm assertion that small irritants will not become massive burdens. When you laugh, you aren't denying the problem. You're simply declaring that it doesn't get to define your emotional landscape. Aristotle noted that laughter is a trait unique to humanity. That's a clue. It's not just a social reflex, it's an I instrument. An instrument we can wield to slice through tension, to deflate problems down to their actual size, and to remind ourselves, this moment is not the sum total of my existence. Picture this. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You can either unleash a symphony of rage, or you can exhale and smirk, acknowledging, there it is, chaos going about its daily business. Same event, completely different internal weather. One reaction keeps you clenched and reactive for hours. The other preserves your humanity. Carl Jung added a vital layer, noting that a happy life cannot exist without a measure of darkness. And the word happy would lose its meaning if not balanced by sadness. The takeaway: anticipate the mess, and when it inevitably shows up, choose your attitude toward it. Plato believed comedy and tragedy were two sides of the same coin. You see it in daily life. One moment you're furious, step back 5 feet, and suddenly the absurdity of it all hits you. It's just life doing its chaotic, unpredictable dance. The real test is in the choosing. Not every event deserves your outrage. Not every hiccup requires a meltdown. Sometimes the most stoic move isn't rigid discipline or stern silence. It's a light heart. It's perspective. It's that quiet internal smile that says, I see the storm and I choose peace anyway. So build a new reflex. When something foolish occurs, before you react, crack a smile, even a flicker, even if you're still annoyed. Let that smile remind you, you are larger than this moment. You aren't here to be a leaf in the wind. You're here to move through existence with grace. And sometimes that grace begins with a simple laugh. There is an understated power in walking away from a confrontation you know you could dominate, not from fear, not because you lack the wit or the sharper tongue, but because deep in your core, you recognize that your serenity is far more valuable than the fleeting satisfaction of proving a point. The ultimate flex isn't winning the argument. It's not needing to have it at all. Think back. How many times have you won a dispute only to be left with a hollow, agitated feeling? You were right. You made your case flawlessly. But instead of victory, you felt heavy, disconnected, maybe even a little ashamed. That's because your true goal wasn't understanding, it was control. And control is a currency that devalues the moment you try to spend it on peace. The Stoics had a concept for this: apatheia, not the modern idea of apathy, but a state of inner calm that remains undisturbed by the turbulence of others. Marcus Aurelius, who governed an empire steeped in conflict, wrote that the best revenge is to not be like the one who harmed you. In other words, refuse to descend into their chaos. Elevate above it. When someone triggers us, it's rarely just about them. It's about what that conflict awakens in us. Our craving to be seen, to be validated, to be right. But here's a difficult truth. Not every trigger deserves a reaction. Some merely need to be observed. Plato held that self-mastery is the ultimate form of freedom, and that absolutely includes mastering your impulses. If you constantly need the last word, you're not free. You're on a leash, and anyone who knows your buttons can yank it. But when you deliberately choose peace over pride, you become unshakable. This isn't about being a doormat. It's not about avoiding hard conversations. It's about discernment. It's asking yourself, in the moment, is this exchange worth my energy, or is it just noise? Because energy is your most finite resource. Once spent, it's gone. Socrates famously stated that strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. So when a conversation slides into gossip, accusation, or ego-driven drama, consider whether it's even worth your participation. Zoom out. Ask yourself, what kind of life am I trying to construct? Who am I becoming in this instant? The truth is, you can win the verbal battle and still lose the relationship, lose your composure, lose yourself. So perhaps the real victory is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, when to defend your truth and when to simply walk away, your dignity intact. Not everything warrants a reaction. Save your fire for the moments that genuinely shape your future. Let the rest burn out on its own. There's a quiet satisfaction in cultivating an unbothered spirit. Not a fake, I don't care facade, but a deeply intentional stance that says, I choose elevation over agitation. Because let's be honest, life provides endless reasons to react. People cut in line, someone speaks down to you, a text is left unread. But what if you flipped the script and treated these moments as mental reps, as training data for your mind? The Stoics weren't aiming for emotional numbness, they were aiming for total command. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So if someone's attitude can ruin your day, it's not entirely their fault. It's a signal that your inner fortress needs reinforcement. Now consider a new approach. Turn calm into a game. Seriously, start counting how many times today you could have reacted and chose not to. That's your scoreboard. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you breathe, let it go, point. A colleague makes a snide comment, you smile and remain cool. Another win. This reframes emotional self-control from a chore into a challenge. And a strange thing happens when you gamify it. You start looking for opportunities to stay grounded. You begin to notice just how much control you actually have. Aristotle said that what lies in our power to do lies in our power not to do. This applies perfectly here. You can always fire back, but it's the moments you don't, the moments you choose restraint that forge character. That's self-mastery. That's how mental steel is tempered. Carl Jung added another layer, observing that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about that. Every time you snap without thinking, you're being led by unseen habits. But when you pause, reflect, and respond with purpose, you are literally rewiring your neural pathways. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't about suppressing how you feel. That's a dead end. It's about becoming so intimately aware of your emotions that you learn to guide them rather than being dragged behind them. You're not pushing them down, you're rising above them. Plato taught that the first and best victory is to conquer oneself. That victory doesn't happen once, it happens dozens of times a day. In the comments, you ignore. In the gossip, you don't repeat. In the thoughts, you question before they become actions. So try it. Track your calm like a high score. Each moment you stay grounded is proof that you're leveling up. It won't be perfect. But every time you choose not to react, you're proving to yourself that you're not here to be easily shaken. You're here to lead yourself, and that's the only game that matters. Many of us engage in a silent, exhausting habit. We compose intricate mental scripts for how other people are supposed to behave. We expect our friends to always be there. We expect our partners to never cause us pain. We expect our leaders to be fair and rational. And when they deviate from our script, when they forget their lines, we feel disappointment, confusion, even a sense of betrayal. But here's the part we often miss. The script was ours alone. We just forgot to tell the actors they were in our play. The philosopher Epictetus laid down a simple, stark truth. Some things are within our control, and others are not. That's it. That's the dividing line. And it's a difficult truth to swallow until you realize the immense peace hidden within its acceptance. Because the moment you stop demanding that people be different than they are and start focusing on how you choose to show up in response, you reclaim your sanity. You suffer less when you stop arguing with reality. You stop waking up each day hoping the world will finally make sense, waiting for the unfairness to correct itself. Plato suggested that reality is created by the mind, and we can change our reality by changing our mind. That's the core of the Stoic shift. An adjustment in perception, not a demand for perfection from the outside world. Jung deepened this, writing that we cannot change anything until we accept it. Ponder that. The longer you resist what is, the longer it holds you captive. The boss remains unfair. The friend keeps flaking. The relationship doesn't evolve. And every time you pour your emotional energy into the same loop, why are they like this? You get no clarity, only exhaustion. Instead, ask the Stoic question, what is within my control right now? Not, can I make them change? But, can I control how much mental real estate I grant them? Can I control my reaction? Can I control whether I let their behavior dictate my peace? Socrates taught that the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. That includes building a new mindset. When you stop needing others to behave in a way that comforts you, you become less reactive, less disappointed, and more grounded. You start living in reality, not in a fantasy. Acceptance isn't giving up, it's leveling up. It's acknowledging, I see what this is, I don't like it, but I won't let it own me. Once you stop needing everyone around you to act right for you to feel right, you tap into a new kind of freedom, a calm that isn't conditional, a peace that isn't borrowed, it's built. And that, right there, is where your authentic power begins. We are hardwired to take things. Our minds leap to self-blame. What did I? Our minds leap to self-blame. What did I do wrong? Are they mad at me? Am I the problem? But the vast majority of the time, it has nothing to do with you. The truth is, every person carries an entire universe inside them. Unseen stresses, deep insecurities, distracting pains. Sometimes you just happen to be standing nearby when those internal worlds leak out. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, would remind himself each morning that the people he'd meet would be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and deceitful. That wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. He understood that most people act from their own internal noise, not from a calculated plan to attack you. So why adopt their behavior as a personal indictment? When someone's actions sting, it's often a signal pointing back to something inside us. An old wound, a need for validation. The mistake is assuming it's always a reflection of your worth. It's not. Plato taught that we don't see the world as it is, but as we are. Our filters, shaped by past experiences and current emotional states, can twist a neutral event into something that feels deeply personal. So when someone snaps at you, your reaction might be more about your interpretation than their intention. That's why the Stoic practice of distinguishing appearances from reality is so crucial. You pause, you look again, you ask, what else could this mean? Think of it like this. You are not the center of everyone else's story, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually liberating. It means you don't have to carry their emotional baggage. You don't have to fix their moods. You don't have to own their reactions. Aristotle noted that to avoid criticism, you'd have to say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing. But even that wouldn't guarantee peace because people will always project their inner chaos onto you. So what do? You create space, emotional distance, enough room to say, maybe this isn't mine to hold. You remind yourself over and over, what if this isn't even about me? That single thought can be a shield. Soft, but incredibly strong. Socrates believed wisdom begins in knowing how little we actually know, and that includes knowing why people behave the way they do. So stop filling their silence with self-blame. Stop interpreting every weird mood as a verdict on your flaws. You are not responsible for the storm someone else is fighting. You are only responsible for not letting it drag you under. That's Stoic strength, responding with clarity, not confusion. Holding your center even when others lose theirs, and realizing that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to not take it personally. There is an addictive quality to anger. In the moment, it feels like armor. You feel sharp, alert, powerful. Your heart pounds. Your words become weapons. It feels like control. But then the dust settles and you're left with the wreckage, regret, distance, the awful silence after something unforgivable has been said. Trust fractured, maybe beyond repair. Anger is a master of disguise. It arrives dressed as strength, but underneath it's usually just fear or pain, looking for an exit. It convinces you that exploding is the only way to be heard, when in reality, it's the fastest way to lose your audience. Anger is like that friend who hypes you up to throw a punch, then vanishes the moment the consequences arrive, leaving you alone to clean up the mess. The Stoics knew this intimately. When you react in anger, you might win the instant, but you lose the relationship, the respect, your peace. That discomfort, that urge to snap. It's often a flare from your inner world, signaling a wound or an unmet need. And if you can pause long enough to examine it, just for a moment, you open the door to something far more potent than anger, awareness. Plato believed true courage is knowing what not to fear, and sometimes what we fear most is appearing weak. We think staying calm is surrendering power, when in truth, it's the ultimate expression of it. The person who can remain centered when everything around them is spinning. That's not weakness, that's strength with roots deep enough to withstand any storm. The Stoic view of fire was this: use it wisely. Let it warm, not scorch. That means channeling the energy anger provides into something constructive. Let it fuel a boundary, not a blow-up. Let it sharpen your clarity, not your tongue. Let it push you to act, but not to attack. Aristotle observed that anyone can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. That's emotional discipline. That's choosing your response instead of being owned by it. So next time the fire rises, pause. Not because you're afraid to speak, but because you respect yourself enough not to burn everything down. You can be assertive without being aggressive. You can be clear without being cruel. You can stand your ground and still walk away with grace, because real power doesn't come from yelling louder. It comes from staying calm longer. There's a heavy weight we carry when we hold on to past pain. Not the pain itself that comes and goes, but the story we attach to it, the grudge, the resentment, the endless replay of what someone said, what they did, what they never apologized for. And every time you revisit it in your mind, you feel that sting all over again. The same hurt, recycled. It's exhausting. Here's a hard truth. The person who hurt you has probably moved on. They're living their life, sipping their coffee, completely unaware that they're still squatting rent-free in your head. Meanwhile, you're carrying their words around like a fresh wound. But it's not fresh. It's scar tissue you keep picking at. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to not be like your enemy. In other words, don't let someone else's cruelty turn you into a prisoner of your own bitterness. Don't let their behavior dictate your inner world. That's not justice. That's surrendering your peace. Carl Jung stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That's the pivot. Letting go isn't about erasing the past. It's about refusing to let it define your future. It's saying, yes, this hurt. Yes, it changed me. but I will not let it shape who I am moving forward. You reclaim authorship of your own story. Aristotle believed we are what we repeatedly do. So if you rehearse resentment, if you practice bitterness, you become shaped by that energy. It becomes your emotional baseline, but you can choose to interrupt that cycle. You can choose to practice something else. Forgiveness, not for them, for you. Plato taught that the soul is harmed more by committing injustice than by receiving it. When you hold a grudge, when you fantasize about getting even, you are prolonging your own suffering. You're tethering your peace to someone who may never make it right. So try this, just once. Say it out loud. This happened. It hurt, but it's over. Not because you're okay with it, not because it was fair, but because you're done letting it hold you hostage. Say it for your sanity, not their sympathy. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean what they did was acceptable. It means you're done reliving it. You're done bleeding for someone else's wound. You're finally choosing to stop carrying something that no longer serves your growth. The Stoics didn't aim to be cold or indifferent. They aimed to live wisely, to let go of what they couldn't control, to stay grounded in the present, not dragged backward by the past. So maybe the real strength isn't in holding on. Maybe it's in saying, I've carried this long enough. Now I'm setting it down, and then walking forward, lighter, freer, wiser. One of the fastest ways to lose your peace is by trying to manage everyone else's life. It starts nobly. You want to help, to guide, to protect the people you care about. But somewhere along the way, it shifts. Helpfulness becomes control. Suddenly your mood is tied to their decisions. Your energy is spent chasing their change, and your sanity hangs on whether or not they get it. It's a losing game. Here's the truth. You cannot control people. Not your partner, not your kids, not your parents, not your friends, your co-workers, or that relative who refuses to listen no matter how many times you repeat yourself. Influence? Sure. Inspire? Absolutely. But control? That was never yours to hold. The Stoics were crystal clear about this. Epictetus said some things are in our control and others are not. The problem is we forget which is which. We think if we just say it the right way, if we just care hard enough, people will change. But change doesn't happen on your timeline. It happens on theirs, if it happens at all. Carl Jung offered a powerful insight. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Instead of trying to fix everyone else, start with yourself. Are you modeling the calm, clarity, and compassion you wish they had? Are you showing, not just telling, what growth actually looks like? Socrates believed true wisdom was knowing how little we truly know, and that applies doubly to other people's paths. You don't know what they need to learn or when they need to learn it, and trying to force the lesson often pushes them further away. Think about it. Have you ever wanted to listen to someone who constantly hovered over your choices? Probably not. Aristotle said the ultimate value of life depends on awareness and contemplation, not mere survival. That awareness begins with recognizing your limits. You can offer insight, you can extend patience, you can hold space. But the moment your peace hinges on their progress, you're in dangerous territory. You've handed them the keys to your emotional house. So what's your real job? It's not to micromanage grown folks. It's to lead by example, to stay steady, to show kindness without controlling, to give advice without expecting obedience, to release people from the unspoken contract that says, you must change so I can be okay. Let them walk their path, even if it looks messy, even if you wouldn't take that route yourself. Because that freedom you give them, it also frees you, and in that space, you both get to grow, not through force, but through choice, through presence, through trust. That's real leadership. That's Stoic strength. And it's the path that actually brings peace, not just for them, but for you too. It's remarkable how quickly the human mind fills in the blanks. Something small happens. Someone forgets to reply. They interrupt you mid-sentence. They give you a look you can't quite decipher. And within seconds, your brain has constructed an entire narrative around it. A story where you're the one being overlooked, disrespected, or found wanting. And before you even realize what's happening, you're not reacting to what happened. You're reacting to the story you told yourself about what happened. This is where the Stoics bring us back to center. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." That line is deceptively simple, but it's everything. It reminds us there is always a choice between the stimulus and the story we weave around it. We can either plunge headlong into assumptions, or we can pause and scrutinize the narrative we're spinning. Carl Jung echoed this, saying that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. In other words, unless you start questioning the stories you've absorbed from childhood, past relationships, or societal messaging, you'll keep reacting the same way and blaming the outside world for it. Here's where the ACD method comes in. Awareness, control, direction. First, awareness. Catch the moment your body tightens, your chest gets hot, or your mind starts racing. That's the signal. Instead of letting it sweep you away, pause, notice it. Second, control. This doesn't mean pushing the feeling down. It means slowing your response. It means taking a breath, counting to 5, or simply saying, "Wait, what's really going on here?" And finally, direction. This is where the real power lies. You choose a better, more grounded interpretation. Maybe they didn't ignore you, they just didn't see the message. Maybe that criticism wasn't meant to hurt, it was just blunt. Maybe this isn't a personal attack, it's just life being messy, as it always is. Socrates taught that the unexamined life is not worth living, and that's what this is about. Examining the meaning we assign to things before letting those meanings rule our emotions. Because most of the time, it's not the situation that upsets us, it's the story. Aristotle said wisdom begins in wonder, so wonder even when you're triggered. Wonder if the story is real or just familiar. Wonder if this is a chance to react the way you always have, or the way you wish you could. You can't always control what happens, but you can absolutely rewrite the script your mind runs with. And the more you practice it, the more you become the author of your response, not a character tossed around by your reactions. You can't control the wind, but you can rewrite the sails of your mind. That's not just emotional intelligence, that's Stoic mastery. Let's be honest, most of us don't enter a disagreement seeking clarity. We enter seeking a win. Somewhere deep inside, there's a voice whispering, "I need to be right." And that's where the trouble begins, because once ego takes the wheel, the actual problem becomes a background prop. The conversation turns into a battle of pride, not a search for understanding. Socrates believed that dialogue, real, open, thoughtful dialogue, was the foundation of wisdom. But how often do we actually have those kinds of conversations? Too often, we're not listening to understand. We're listening to reload, crafting our comeback while the other person is still talking. That's not communication, that's combat. The Stoics warned against this. Epictetus noted we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Simple, but powerful, especially when tensions rise. In heated moments, the most radical thing you can do is stay calm. Not passive, calm. There's a difference. That sting you feel during an argument, it's often less about what was said and more about what got touched inside you. An insecurity, a fear, an old wound. If you can pause long enough to see that, you stop reacting and start responding. Now imagine approaching an argument with a different goal. Not to win, but to resolve. Not to dominate, but to connect. What changes? Try this next time. Lower your voice. There's a natural instinct to raise it when we feel threatened, but a calm voice disarms tension. It changes the energy in the room. It signals, I'm here to talk, not to attack. Then ask better questions. Instead of, how could you say that? Try, what made you feel that way? Instead of, what's your problem? Try, what are you really trying to say? Questions like that open space, not just in the conversation, but in the other person's mind. Aristotle believed true wisdom lies in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. In arguments, that wisdom shows up in your ability to pause to say, help me understand. Not sarcastically, genuinely. Those words can take the heat out of almost any conflict. And here's the thing, when everyone else is reactive, the calmest person becomes the anchor. They don't just calm themselves, they calm the room. People look to them because composure is magnetic. Strength that doesn't shout is rare, and rare things lead. So next time you find yourself in a conflict, don't aim to win the argument. Aim to keep your integrity. Aim to steer the room not by force, but by presence. That's how leaders move. That's how Stoics think. That's how real change starts. Sometimes your body knows the storm is coming before your mind does. You're sitting there trying to focus, and suddenly your jaw is tight. Your chest feels heavy, your breath shortens, and then like clockwork, something small sets you off. But if we're being honest, it wasn't that one comment or that little delay. The trigger was just the last drop. The tension had been building long before, and your body tried to warn you. Modern psychology backs this up. Carl Jung said the body is the unconscious mind. That tight chest, that knot in your stomach, those clenched fists, they're not random. They're messages, signals that something in your inner world is trying to get your attention. And most of us don't listen. We push it down. We distract ourselves. We stay busy until, boom, one small thing turns into a full-blown explosion, and then we're left wondering, where did that come from? The Stoics understood this pattern, even before we had terms like fight or flight. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them. But how can we adjust our view when we're already spiraling? That's where bodily awareness comes in. When you notice tension early, you get a chance to stop the spiral before it takes over. Socrates believed the secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Learning to tune into your body is one way to build that new. It means catching the signal before it becomes a scream. It means seeing the clenched jaw as a whisper, not a failure. Here's a practical way to start. Next time you feel that inner squeeze, pause. Don't react, just notice. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Hold for a second. Exhale slowly, then ask yourself, what am I really reacting to? Not what just happened, but what it's hitting inside you. Is it rejection? Is it fear? Is it an old wound getting poked? Plato said the body is the vessel of the soul. And if that's true, then learning to listen to your body is learning to understand your deeper self. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's how you become less reactive, more responsive, less chaotic, more composed. The world will keep testing you. People will keep saying things, doing things, forgetting things. But if you can stay tuned into your inner signals, if you can respond to your body like it's your teammate, not your enemy, you start moving through life with a kind of quiet strength that people feel without you saying a word. Your body is an early warning system. Don't ignore it, respect it, work with it. That's not just emotional intelligence, that's Stoic resilience built from the inside out. Every single day, your attention is up for grabs, and not just from ads or notifications, from people. People who want a reaction, people who push your buttons, test your patience, pull at your energy. Some do it with good intentions, others not so much. the internet troll leaving a snarky comment, the co-worker who thrives on drama, the ex who reappears just to see if they still have access. They all want something from you, even if it's just your emotional presence. But here's something the Stoics understood deeply. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Not every voice deserves your energy. And one of the most overlooked ways to protect that power is being selective about where you place your attention. Carl Jung wrote, "What you resist persists," meaning the more you engage with things that drain you, out of anger, out of pride, out of habit, the more those things grow in your mind. That one negative comment turns into an inner monologue. That petty coworker consumes your day. That message from your ex reopens wounds you were finally starting to heal. And you wonder why you feel exhausted, scattered, frustrated. But it's not just what's happening around you. It's what you're choosing to give your energy to. Socrates believed the key to a meaningful life was not in knowing many things, but in knowing which things matter. That's the filter you need. Before you respond, before you even notice something, ask yourself, does this deserve me? That's a powerful shift. Instead of reacting to everything, you start curating your mental space like it's your most valuable property. Because it is. Aristotle taught that the mark of an educated mind is to entertain a thought without accepting it. You can see the drama, hear the insult, witness the chaos, and still not take it personally. You can let it pass. You can scroll by, not out of indifference, but out of discipline. Because here's the truth, your attention is currency. And if you spend it on nonsense, you go broke where it actually matters. On peace, on clarity, on creativity, on joy. Every response you give to something that doesn't deserve you is energy you've taken away from what does. So protect it. Guard it like it's gold. Because it is. The more you master your attention, the more you master your life. You become less reactive, more focused, more intentional, and slowly, without even announcing it, you step into the kind of calm that people notice but can't quite explain. You don't owe your presence to everyone who demands it, especially not the ones who haven't earned it. Let them scroll by, let them fade, and keep your eyes and your energy on the life you're building, not the noise trying to pull you away from it. That's Stoic living. Quiet, clear, unbothered. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective can change everything. One thought, one moment of awareness, and suddenly the emotional storm loses its grip. That's the quiet power of gratitude. It's not flashy, it doesn't shout, but it has this almost magical ability to calm the chaos within. Now, think about this for a second. You cannot be genuinely angry and genuinely grateful at the same time. Try it. Anger says, "This isn't fair." Gratitude says, "But I still have something." It's like trying to walk in two directions at once. You can't do both. And that's why gratitude is the ultimate reset button. The Stoics understood this in their own way. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor dealing with betrayal, war, and illness, wrote, "Don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, think of the blessings you do have and how much you'd miss them if they were gone." That's not just a nice idea, it's a strategy, especially when your emotions start running the show. Carl Jung pointed out that no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything's fine when it's not. It means acknowledging the darkness and still seeing light. It's the act of anchoring yourself in what's real, not just what's wrong. Plato taught that the soul becomes wise through reflection. And what is gratitude if not reflection in motion? It takes you out of the spinning story in your head and brings you back to the present, to what's still good, still true, still yours. And when you do that, even in the middle of a mess, you give your nervous system a break. You soften, you breathe again. So here's a practical challenge. Next time you feel that heat in your chest, that tension in your jaw, that urge to lash out, pause and name 3 things you're grateful for. Right there, in the moment. Not big. The self-awareness to even pause. Socrates, the self-awareness to even pause. Socrates believed contentment was found not by adding more to life, but by subtracting false desires. Gratitude does exactly that. It strips away the should-haves and why-me's and gets you back to what's real and enough. And from that place, you respond better, you think clearer, you move with intention instead of impulse. Anger narrows your world. Gratitude opens it. Anger sees the problem. Gratitude sees the full picture. It doesn't fix everything, but it helps you see clearly enough to make a better next move. That's the cheat code. Not because it avoids reality, but because it roots you in a better one. So no, gratitude won't erase the problem, but it will give you the clarity to stop being consumed by it. And sometimes that clarity is all you need to turn the moment around. Quietly, powerfully, stoically. Your peace was never about the noise around you. It was always about the strength within you. And every time you choose clarity over chaos, presence over reaction, you're not just surviving, you're becoming. If this resonated with something real in you, there's more waiting. Tap into the next video on screen. It was made with the same heart, the same depth, and the same mission, to help you rise, not just react. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Mindset Mastery. Your presence here means more than you know. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and when the world pulls, return to your center.